right, hello everybody. Welcome once again. My name is Dan Russo. You are watching Under the Covers with Dan Russo, coming to you live from WEMF Covers from this lovely and wonderful studio that we have here. My guest today, Kim Moberg. Kim, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited that you are here.
I am so excited. Thank you for inviting me, Dan.
Of course. And before we get started, I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, please make sure you like and subscribe to the show so that now that we are on Facebook and YouTube, you can search WEMF Covers as well. We will have more opportunities, I guess, to kind of watch, to look back, to check it out for those people who are on Facebook, who aren't on Facebook. It is available there as well. Kim, coming to us from lovely Cape Cod, I'm here in Boston, and I was this close. I was so tempted to actually have the show outside today because it is finally nice after, the 2 days of winter we have had. And I often down the Cape, you guys don't get the snow as much. It's more of a rain, cold kind of thing. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We did see some snowflakes, but nothing like what Western Mass saw or New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah.
How was it almost 70 degrees a week ago and
Right.
snow now? Yeah.
And it's so nice today too. I'm actually supposed to meet a friend of mine for lunch, and one of the things that I was really, really insistent on is making sure that we sit outside. And speaking of outside, you have been planning, and we were talking right before you came on. I kind of want to go here first, where you're thinking of outside shows already, and how wonderful it is to actually be able to think about playing shows to people again.
To be able to put shows on my calendar is just, better than ice cream. I am so happy. It's not even funny. It's I've got there's one that we're in the process of scheduling, the singer-songwriters series for the Hyannis Business Improvement District, and I've got like a Flying Fish coming up, one in a special event at Truro Vineyards coming up. So, I'm psyched to be able to start putting things down. Yeah.
That's great. Those are some really great places too. And are you thinking of possibly redoing was it the Sandwich?
Sandwich Arts Alliance
yeah.
Porch Fest. We are going to be talking about that. Hopefully that can happen again, because it doesn't happen till October. It's the long weekend in October. And it would be our 6th year. So we brought it virtual last year, which was a lot of fun and a lot of work. Mm-hmm. But boy, are we hoping to get it outside this time. We had such a big turnout the 4th year that we were having trouble, because everybody's supposed to stay socially distant, that we couldn't figure out a way to keep 2,800 people, 3,000 people socially distant. So
yeah, that's one of those things where I always feel like, as people walk by, or as they, clamor for, hey, can I play, kind of thing, there's a lot of that behind the scenes stuff where they're not aware of.
Right.
And I find that is just a tremendous amount of work, and I'm unbelievably impressed that's such a huge amount of people to kind of organize, and so well done, and I really hope that it happens again this
I do too.
October.
And it's definitely a group effort. There's a lot of people involved in making it happen. So you're right. It is a good amount of work, but it's worth it. It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it is, and it's a great opportunity for people who are. I always think of the Cape, especially in the summer, as very touristy. I have family who have a house in Mashpee, so it's a little different. And I kind of, it's November 7th, and I'm like, okay, let's go to the Cape. It's not like something that it's not a vacation necessarily. Let me put it that way. For a lot of people, it is, and while they're on vacation, they see these great musicians, and so I feel like that's a really big important thing that you're doing. So
the Boston area, we're definitely blessed with a lot of very talented artists down here, so and Mashpee, you're very close. You're like 5 miles from me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is great. I love it down there, especially in the winter. But that's because even pre-pandemic, I was not a big fan of crowds.
Right. So, and the beach is just as beautiful in the winter.
I think more so, but that's I don't do well in heat.
Me too. I get fangs and claws, when it's humidity. Yep.
Yeah, I have to keep my hair short, or else it just gets super puffy and yeah.
That might be in
I've always
style.
wanted long hair. My son has really nice long curly hair, and I'm so jealous. You've been playing a lot online, and we talked a little earlier about this. One of the neat opportunities that this has given us is the ability to learn new things, to play new places and with new people, since we are all kind of in this virtual world. How did you get started? I know that you were going to start a house concert series. Is that correct?
Right. We started a house concert series just before the pandemic hit, and we did our kickoff concert with our neighbors to, give them an idea of why they would see all these cars in our yard. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, I was doing online shows by myself, and I was encouraged by a fellow artist to do it. I wasn't really in a big hurry to kind of play to myself on the screen, because it takes some adjusting, and it took some, audio skills that I really wasn't really comfortable with and didn't know a lot about. But then after he had encouraged me to do a show with him, and I got such wonderful feedback and notes from people who were saying, thank you so much for the music, we're missing it, we're home, we can't go anywhere. I realized there was a definite niche for it. And so I eventually got my way to StreamYard, which is the platform you're using right now for these, and it allowed me to have guests come on. And like you said, I have guests, like my next guest at the end of this month is an artist from Switzerland.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I've had, you might know Teresa Storch that I had on last week, and she's living in Colorado right now. I've had on friends from California, from all over the place. So it's definitely been a silver lining.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually, similarly, I had Avsha Elon streamed in from Germany. I had Victoria Rios stream in from California.
Nice.
I had Ryan Miller Lane from Chicago. I think Amanda McCarthy had just moved to Nashville when she was a guest on the show. Let's see, who am I missing here? My friend Dave Giles, who lives outside London.
Isn't that lovely?
It's such a cool opportunity to kind of not only keep the relationships you have with people going, but also this opportunity to make new ones almost.
Oh, absolutely, to make new ones. And for me, it's helping kind of do the groundwork from when we go back to performing live. I'm playing a coffee house series in the Chicago area in a couple of weeks, which I don't know that I would have been able to do that right now. So it's fantastic, and I'll have developed an audience out there through this streaming, so that next year, when it comes time to book in person, I'll be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And we were talking beforehand. 3 at Home, the band that I'm in, we already have a show booked next April in Fort Worth, Texas, which is
so cool.
Yeah, which is such a great opportunity. But speaking of playing, do you want to start us off with a tune?
I would love to, and thank you again for doing Under the Covers. We were saying it earlier. I love playing covers. I am a singer-songwriter, but I've only started writing songs in 2014. So for years before that, I played exclusively covers, and I kind of felt like I wasn't legit, because I wasn't writing songs. And then my mother, who's a classical pianist, I realized she played covers all the time: Chopin, Beethoven, Rachmaninoff. No one ever said to her, "You're playing covers, right?" I love so many.
Rachmaninoff did
songs.
that better, yeah.
Right, exactly. So many amazing covers out there. So this is one of my favorite songwriters. Is from the New England area, Laurie McKenna, and I'm going to do a song by her. It's called "Stealing Kisses." Late enough for the kid to be home. The policeman says as he takes your beer for his own. You remember wondering what his wife thought about his occupation. He knows that you were just chasing a dream to the town line and then back and over again. So he winks at you girls, tells you all he'll see you later. I was stealing kisses from a boy, now I'm begging affection from a man in my house dress. Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? I'm standing in your kitchen. It's late enough, your husband's dinner is cold, so you wrap it up and leave it for him on the stove. It's probably the traffic again or another important meeting. You haven't talked to one adult all day except your neighbor who drives you crazy when he finally gets in. Well, he's sure not in the mood for talking. I was stealing kisses from a boy, now I'm begging affection from a man in my house dress. Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? I'm standing in your kitchen. And hours become days, and days become years, and you could burn down this town if they made matches from fear. You're no worse off than anybody else. Well, don't you even know? Don't you even know yourself? So you're standing outside of the high school doors, the ones you walked out 20 years before, and you whisper to all of the girls, run, run, run. Stealing kisses from a boy, now I'm begging affection from a man in my house dress. Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? Take a look at who I am. Take a look at who I am. I'm stealing kisses. Stealing kisses.
That was awesome. Oh, it was so good.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
and
it was
yes,
beautiful.
Yes, it is Dadgad tuning. Yes, very good. Mary, me too. Oh, I love her so much. I love her. Yay.
So great. And this is that we were talking about the fun of StreamYard before. I love this a little bit where it's like, oh, hey, what we can do. And if everybody who's watching, make sure you please check out Kim's music. Check out, I put a bunch of links in the chat there. That was so wonderful. More applause. It was, it was so great. It was so
That's
pretty.
so nice.
I have a question, and I feel like the Laurie McKenna choice, I think, it brought me to this question, and I feel there's kind of like a Cape sound.
Really?
With like David Wilcox, with that kind of like really in-depth storytelling and kind of almost like not removed but and not laid back in like a like Florida kind of way, but a real kind of like leaning in but calmly, I guess is the right way to put it.
That's a nice way to describe it. I agree.
Yeah. Do you find that you in living where you do kind of lean toward that kind of writing, because your songs sound very not similar, but in this kind of definitely with this kind of feel to it, and is that a recent, since you've been writing, since you lived in the Cape, that it showed up, or was it something that was always in your head someplace?
Always in my head. This type of music definitely is always. I first of all, I love sad songs, and that's probably what drew me to Lori McKenna, because she writes so many sad songs, and to me, she's a huge influence because she takes like everyday occurrences and, like you said, looks a little deeper into them, and shows how really truly extraordinary they are. And we forget about that, and she highlights that in a way that I just am like, oh my God, I just I just love her. So for the way that I play and what suits my voice in playing, that's definitely the type of music that I either gravitate to as covers or write myself. As a fan, I'm all over the place. I mean, I saw David Bowie in the London Symphony Orchestra in the same week, so I'm everywhere.
That's awesome.
With my actual taste in what I like. But as a songwriter, yeah, I'm more influenced by that kind of thing. Storytelling, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, David Bowie with the London Symphony Orchestra probably would have been amazing.
Right? Oh my God.
Always one show.
Ridiculous. And what's funny was the London Symphony Orchestra was at the Cape Cod Coliseum, and I don't even know if you'd ever been there. You're probably not old enough, but it's a hockey rink. So I could just imagine like the people from the symphony walking in going, what?
What am I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
right. I've lived here for 20 years, so
it was insane. And they put boards over the ice, and you're sitting there, and the sound, of course, was not optimal. So
right, and it's cold.
And it's cold.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
That's actually I saw Indigo Girls at Madison Square Garden one time, and they're amazing, and it was during hockey season, so they put the floor over the ice, and there was one spot we were walking around, and it was really cold, and I was like, this is so weird. But that sounds amazing. That sounds like that was an amazing week.
Oh gosh, it was. There's just a list, and I'm sure you're the same way, of so many live shows that I've been to that are, everything from, oh gosh. I mean, I saw James, one of my first concerts was at that same venue. It was James Taylor, and he was doing a political benefit. So they closed off half the Coliseum, and it was just him and his guitar. And it was like being in his living room. It was phenomenal. It was so good. But I also saw Todd Rundgren and Thin Lizzy and, Tom Petty there. So many people. Yeah.
That's so how long have you been living in the Cape?
Well, I lived here. My dad was in the Coast Guard, so we moved around a ton. I was born in Juneau, Alaska, which is where my mother was from, and her mother, and her mother, and her mother. And but when she married my father, who was in the Coast Guard, we moved all over the place. And I lived on the base on Otis when I was in high school. And that's when I saw all of those concerts. And then we moved away, and I lived in California and in Oklahoma. I lived a lot of places. And then as an adult, really wanted to come back I missed New England when I was out in California. I missed the Four Seasons, and I missed people. People here are definitely, how do I say it? They are, what you see is what you get. If they don't like something, they're going to be vocal about it. And I kind of like that. There's an authenticity and an honesty about that. And so I missed that and came back and lived in Boston for a number of years, which is where I met my husband. We worked together. And, everybody'd say, office romances. And, and almost 27 years later, here we are, still happily married. But then we decided we wanted to move back here. So we've been here 26 plus years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we love it here.
That's a great story, and I think you're totally right about the authenticity. Mm-hmm. There's almost like a impress me kind of thing, and now that we're friends, we're going to be friends forever.
Exactly.
But there's that initial kind of step. I think that's definitely real, and I find it so interesting because a lot of people I know have tried to move to California for a time, whatever that time might be, right?
And it's beautiful there.
It's beautiful, gorgeous. And it's so fantastic. One of my very good friends who is a musician moved to California to kind of try to do the music / acting thing. Came back 5 months later. He was like, I'm done.
5 months later.
Not for me. My brother, who is a film editor and does all kind of film technology stuff, all the behind the scenes stuff, directing, editing, has been there for 7 years and is never coming back. He loves it so incredibly much.
Right. And it's so different. I mean, it's really like a different country. And when I lived out in Sacramento, a person that I knew for a while moved out here from there, and the whole time she was here, she missed her home. So it all just depends on what you gravitate to, what feels like home. And to me, of all the places that we lived, Cape Cod definitely felt like home. And luckily enough, my husband felt the same way. They had a summer cottage growing up in West Dennis, a little 2-bedroom cottage that he spent every single summer at. So he just really felt at home here.
Yeah. And that's really important. I think that's 100% correct. I know that, I find it so interesting. You mentioned about your mother and your mother's mother and your mother's mother.
Right.
And I've read an article where someone was talking about how important it is for you, but in the recent past, it's become more important to be a Native Alaskan.
Right.
Right. And do you find that, I know you have the song "The Raven," which is kind of a folk tale, and it's awesome. It's really, really good.
Thank you.
I'll actually put the link up in a second. Do you find yourself kind of gravitating toward those kind of stories when you write, or is it more of a experience that you're having right now when you kind of put songs out?
I didn't at first. And the deal is, because of colonization, I grew up not knowing very much about my heritage at all. My mother remembers having her mouth taped shut for speaking her native language when she was a young girl in school. And so the goal for her was to Americanize us, right? There wasn't a lot of things that were passed down. And it wasn't until fairly recently that I realized that was all kind of by design, me not knowing really about my heritage. So, I started digging deeper into it, and that's, like where The Raven came from. And I've written like a brand new song called The Seventh Fire, which, talks about Native American prophecies. And, so I find myself more and more drawn to it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And is that, do you think that's more of an introspection thing or a reactionary thing?
Intro for sure. Introspection.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask is I know that in the recent past, for me at least, I've been reading a lot and learning a lot, and I don't know whether it's just coincidence, but there seems to be a lot of articles and a lot of podcasts and that kind of stuff about making sure that Hawaiian is still spoken, making sure that Irish is still spoken, making sure that, and trying to really, not really save languages, but kind of like expand the knowledge of culture, I think is the right
Oh, I think it's
way.
Save languages. I think definitely it's, in many cases it is save language. I know Tlingit was almost a lost language itself because it was never a documented language. My great aunt was one of the key people in creating the first Tlingit to English dictionary. And now there's been a lot of funds raised to try and, get those stories and get the language from the elders before it's completely gone. But that's not something unique to my heritage, like you said. It's to a lot of people who have been over time and over history suppressed for one, oppressed for one reason or another. So I think it's wonderful and it's long overdue that, these things are coming to light right now.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and I think that it's, and as as somebody who makes their living as a language teacher too, I find it just absolutely fascinating. Any language is fascinating, but the little intricacies of how this language changed to that language, or how this language and that language are so similar, but they're a little different here. Or I in fact. Last summer during the pandemic, one of the neat things, we'll call it that, opportunities was my daughter and I were challenging each other to Arabic on Duolingo.
Wow.
So I was able to, I can now read certain things. And I can read almost everything. I know almost every letter. And I can, there are a couple of words that I know. But other than that, I'm still working on it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, but I think that it's such a great experience to know, to know another language, to know even if it's a culture you share with your family or with friends or something like that.
Right.
It's such an interesting
And we're so lucky to have the technology to help us do that right now. It's a wonderful use of technology.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that use of technology is so fantastic. So do you find yourself now like relearning languages, or is it kind of like
little by little? And time is always
time is the
big,
worst. It's the worst.
If I wish I had more time to do all the things that I want to do. So little by little, like I'm learning like even to link it phrases. I was invited by, I don't know if do you know Tom Smith?
Yes.
I was invited by Tom Smith to participate in a project that he just launched and started called the Know Better, Do Better project.
I have it on my little notes here to talk to you about that. Yes, that's such a cool
fantastic project. They did, and Olivia Brown-Lee, there are 4 of them that started it. And they invited a core group of, I think it was 20 artists to kick it off. And what the project entails is looking at songs that are written for children, but written for anyone, that we've kind of passed down through our American culture that we may or may not realize are racist in some way or another. And to try, not to try to rewrite each song, but to try and take elements that made that song popular, like, whether it was easy to sing along or, if it had a danceable beat, whatever it is, take those elements and put a new positive, inclusive song out there. And so the one that I chose was a song from Disney, What Makes the Red Man Red, and I wrote another children's song to counter it called Utkashi, which is native for to sing out. So, using Tlingit language in a new song was something new for me. So it was a pretty cool project. There was a lot of research involved in it, and then a lot of time spent in writing the new stuff. So check it out, the Know Better, Do Better project. Excellent.
Yeah, no, that's it's so cool and such a great idea. And as Mary was saying, it is everywhere. And I feel like especially, having kids now and being, I think aware might be the right word, but definitely it's easier 30 years ago or even 20 years ago to accept that as regular, or where there's more of a awareness now of whoa, time out.
Right.
How did they let that one go?
Exactly. And it is true. And that's the whole kind of definition, part of the definition of systemic is that it's just built into our everyday things that we accept.
Yeah, and it's regular or normal, right? Yeah, which is one of the things that I think it's important to be aware of and kind of work not against, but work toward expanding and kind of allowing these other voices, these other languages, kind of saying, "Hey, that's not right. Let's fix it," kind of thing. And I think that's
right.
I think
agree.
that's super important.
Yep.
Yeah. But I love that idea, and I love especially, all those songs people probably have been singing them for their entire lives.
Oh, there's
and
so
pointing
many.
out right now and saying, wait a second, that's not racist. It's just like, no, it's pretty racist.
Pretty racist.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back and there's songs in there, and there's a whole list of resources that tell you why these songs are racist, where they came from, how they originated. And to me, intent is everything. Intent is everything. And so if you go back and research the original intent of these songs, changing a lyric to make it more acceptable isn't enough, because what was the intent of this thought? And if the intent was, to put anybody down at all, then we can do better. Right? We can do better.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of this, Martin Swingia, Kat Bula, Eric Law, Mark Stepikoff, Kemp Harris, Kim Wallach, George Woods, yourself, Carol Stevens, Olivia Brownlee, Stuart Stotts, Uncle Devin, Tom Smith, Sarah Fard, and it's such a great mix of people too, and such very talented musicians, yourself included, and I think it's such it's one of those things where, now that it's a thing, it's one of those things like, why hasn't someone done that before? And it's just, it's a great idea.
Right.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is they are inviting everyone now to participate take a look at what's there and research and try and find a song and write a better one. And, put it on YouTube, and they'll include the link to your YouTube to your new song on the Know Better Do Better Project website.
It's so fantastic. Speaking of songs, do you mind playing another one? Would that be right?
I'd love to. This is one of my favorite songs written by Jeffrey Folkalt, an artist that's also from the New England area, and it's called Northbound 35. Northbound 35 through the iron hills, under infidel skies. It's 200 miles to drive, and you won't be home. And I saw an else-bound train on the overpass in the driving rain, and every ticket costs the same for where you can't go. Mustang horses and champagne glasses, anything frail, anything wild. It's the price of living motion. What's beautiful is broken, and grace is just the measure of a fall. So I rolled into your town, past the smokestacks, and your dogs down off Main, and the sky spun around with her diamonds on fire. And we fought all night, and then we danced in your kitchen, and you were as much in my hands as water or darkness, or nothing can ever be held. Mustang horses and champagne glasses, anything frail, anything wild. It's the price of living motion. What's beautiful is broken, and grace is just a measure of a fall. It's just flashes that we own, little snapshots made of breath and of bone. And out on the darkling and playing alone, will they light up the sky? And it's 51 driving south. Ain't it funny just how things can work out? I never kissed you on the mouth when we said goodbye. Goodbye. Mustang horses and champagne glasses, anything frail, anything wild. It's the price of living motion. beautiful is broken, and grace is just the measure of a fall.
Yay!
Thank you
Oh,
very
it's
much.
beautiful.
Thank you. Isn't that a great song?
Beautiful. It's a great song. Who's that by again?
Jeffrey Foucault.
Jerry Foucault.
Jeffrey Foucault. Yes, if you don't know him, definitely look him up. Focault. And his wife is also an incredible singer-songwriter, Chris Delmhorst.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
When you pick these covers, are you... Oh, there we go. Great. It's great.
Oh, thanks, Cece. Yay.
When you pick these covers, do you find yourself kind of going more towards super local people or people who are less known, or it just happens that way sometimes?
All over the place. It just happens sometimes. Like the next one I'm going to do, everyone's going to know.
It's the Pantera cover, right? That one. Yeah.
Which cover?
Pantera, right?
I'm sorry, you got me.
Oh no, Pantera is a very loud metal band from the 90s.
Oh, then yes, I do have a Strat sitting over there. How did you know that?
That's so funny. So when you say it's all over the place, what do you think? So if you were to do another cover show, what would you have to pick from, do you think? Or is it kind of like
anything
random?
from Dylan to Counting Crows to, I don't know. I have a whole list of, who do I have here? Beatles, Fleetwood Mac, Neil Young, who else? All sorts of people here. James Taylor, Johnny Cash.
It's awesome.
Just and it has to be, like, I would love to rip on, some totally hard rock songs, but I don't have the voice for it, nor do I have, the guitar skills to really do that. So it's kind of, covers kind of
you don't have the guitar skills yet. No, it's always time. As you know, you're spending all the time learning different languages and learning how to play
and learning
Metallica.
Different instruments.
Yeah, strictly
Learning different instruments. Yeah.
Strictly Japanese metal. There we go.
Right.
Nothing but Japanese metal. But one of the reasons I ask is because you mentioned how you were playing cover songs for such a long time.
Right.
And then you said 2014 you were able to start writing. Was there a moment in which you were like, oh, this is why I have to write? Or is it just felt like, oh, maybe... I don't want to give you choices.
No, that's okay. I had debilitating stage fright for many, many years. So the only place that I ever played was in our basement. I did not play out ever. And in 2014, I set out to kind of overcome that. And I started going to open mics every week. And, the first one I went to was in January 2014, and I bought this really cool guitar that, had a beautiful pickup in it, and my husband's driving me there, and I'm like, maybe tonight I'll listen. And he's like, nope, you're playing, you're going to be playing. And, it took me a good year to get over the stage fright by going back to this same very welcoming, wonderful open mic every Wednesday night. And probably a few months into it, I noticed that a lot of the people and the levels, like any open mic, were all over the place. There were beginners, there were professional people. But I noticed a lot of people bring in their newly written pieces to either play it for the first time or play pieces of it. And I'm like, well, they're not professional musicians that do this for a living, and they're writing songs. Maybe I can do that. So I tried to write a song. And the first song is on my first CD, and the CD's titled Above Ground, which celebrates me bringing music out of our basement and above ground.
I love that. That's such a cool idea.
Well, people have asked me, does it mean that you're alive and not like, I'm like, not really, but that's okay.
True story. After that, Martin is sounding divine. That's so that I love that, and part of the reason I'm asking, and I'll see if I can, my StreamYard skills are up to where they need to be right now. Because I wanted to show this to everybody, and for those of you guys who can't read this. Starting in 2018, we have all of these just tremendous awards and grants and songwriting contests and winners of this and winners of that and winners of the other thing. And I feel like it is such... It's, I guess, blossom, is that the right word?
Where it's just I think I've just been in the right place at the right time. I don't know.
Oh my word. And the songs are so good, and I really enjoy them a lot. Like I said before, it's that what I hear is that like Cape kind of folk sound, and I really enjoy it a lot. I need to put this back to where it's supposed to be. There we go. Okay. And did you set out first to kind of like, oh, I'm going to write a song that's going to win an award, or is that just magic because you're just that good?
Yeah, it was more. I want to write a song that I can have the courage to get behind a microphone and sing. that was it.
I am very glad that is happening because you're fantastic.
Maybe it's, and also, sometimes I wonder what we bring in this life from prior, in our DNA, from our heritages, because my mother was a classical pianist, and her mother played guitar and told stories, and her brother played guitar and told stories, and part of our Tlingit culture is oral stories and passing them down from generation. So maybe it was like something that was in there, but I had it all buried under, my own shit. So yeah.
Yeah, I often think of that kind of generational music as a definite thing, and I tell the story. It's apocryphal, so I don't know if it's true or not. But in my head, this is how it goes. My dad was a student at NYU, and they had an open mic at one of those places, and he and his buddy were the last people at the open mic, and then the featured artist was Bob Dylan. I always tell this story about how my dad opened for Dylan.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And so I keep thinking, so if my dad opened for Dylan, then who am I going to open for?
Exactly.
And then who is my daughter going to open for? Kind of like this is going to be amazing to see.
Who's going to open for you guys?
Well, that'd be great too. But no, I definitely feel like it's such a great experience to kind of have that tradition, that generational, almost like I know that people talk about generational knowledge a lot of times in a bad way about how things can get passed down.
Addictions or
I was just thinking the generational like PTSD almost of certain situations and certain environments and that kind of thing. I like to think of it as there's a positive side of it in addition, not instead of, but there's both, and I want to acknowledge both of those. I think that's important. And one of those things, like you were saying, kind of is this tradition of storytelling is one that is literally like in our DNA, I believe.
Yeah, and I mean, I know as a musician and a music lover, it feels like something that's always been. You know what I mean? When you sing and when you play, the place that you're in when you're doing that, it doesn't feel new. It feels like it's always been. So I just think it's been something that has been in your lineage and passed down forever, with even in your subconscious that you don't even realize it.
Right, and if there were photographs in the 1700s or something like that, we probably would see. And at least I know my ancestors were probably going to be playing music someplace. So
right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do it with people. I mean, I know, you have your band, and then you must miss playing with Mary. And I know,
oh yeah,
I have a fiddler, excuse me, accompanist, Heather Swanson, that I have been playing out with for the past probably 4+ years, and she literally lives 3 streets that way, and I haven't seen her for a year. Ugh. So I know, and I cannot wait to play music with her again. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, actually, we were talking about this the other day. I haven't seen Mary since November. That's weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Although today is my 2 weeks, so I am now officially fully vaccinated against
the power.
I am immortal. And
I'm a superhero.
I am the next Captain America. But
I got my second one a week ago tomorrow, so
okay.
I not
week
long
left.
to. Yeah.
Nice. That's fantastic. Do you mind playing another song for us?
I'd love to.
Yes.
I'd love to. I'm not even going to introduce it, but I am going to say one of my favorite things to do is to take a song that everyone knows, and a lot of times I'll do this with some Dylan songs or like Imagine, and I change the arrangement because we hear we've heard the song in our head or on the radio 100 times over the years, and it's in the background, and we forget to pay attention to just how really cool the lyrics are. And so I like to, change the arrangement, and this is one of them. And you guys will know it, and maybe, Mary, you guys out there want to be a Pip and sing along, right? Melody proved too much for the man. He's leaving a light. He's come to know. He said he's going back to find what's left of his world. A world he's left behind. Not so very long ago. He's leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. He said he's going back to find a simpler place and time. On that midnight train to Georgia. Ooh, I'd rather live in his world than live without him in mine. He kept dreaming, ooh, that one day he'd be a star. Well, he sure found out the hard way that dreams don't always come true. So he's pawned all his hopes, and he's even sold his old car. Bought a one-way ticket back to a life that he once knew. He's leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. He said he's going back to find a simpler place and time. On that midnight train to Georgia. Ooh, I'd rather live in his world. I'd rather live in his world. I would rather live in his world than live without him in mine. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go on a midnight train. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go on a midnight train. I've got to go. I've got to go on a midnight train.
good.
Thank you very much.
And I always say this, and I feel like it's such a weird thing. Playing live shows, you don't often get the clapping at the end of the.
That's something we kind of got used to. I think I can picture myself like when I play a room again where people clap, going, "Whoa!"
Well, where's all this noise from? My goodness, yeah.
Right?
Avsha used to use this as the first song at the end of live shows when running sound in Tel Aviv.
Oh,
that's a cool idea.
So cool.
Yeah.
I'm changing guitars.
This is the electric, right? This is what we're gonna.
No, this is not the Strat. No, this is not the Strat. Not yet. I do. I have this awesome Fender amp that I bought a year and a half ago, and a beautiful Strat. And I haven't had the guts to like play it live yet, but I think I'm getting there. It's close.
I feel like a lot of times, when there's a really nice, for instance, George Woods has this really nice guitar, and I picked it up and I started playing it. And I'm like, I'm gonna break it. It's like that initial kind of like, this is too nice. So I just wanted to let you know, just officially, we have people listening, watching from all over the world, from Argentina, from Germany, from let's see who else is here. People from Boston.
Excellent.
So I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching. This is so great. Thank you to Kim for being here. I thought it was so interesting when you were talking about how sometimes we lose songs. They kind of become background or almost like white noise.
Right.
It's like you hit play on a song and it's like there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an interesting attempt. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Where endeavor. I'll go with endeavor. To kind of like revisit either the lyrics or the music, or like kind of see how it mixes up and how it changes it. Do you have many songs that you do that to, or is it kind of like
I've got a handful? Like I've got I did just a little bit, and I don't change them a ton. Not like a jazz musician can really like improvise and completely remold a song and then bring it right back. But I'll change it enough to get people's attention. I think I know that. Hey, wow, that's that song. A little bit. And I do it like I have a version that I like doing of Imagine, and then some Dylan songs as well. So, or what I like to do too is if somebody else has done a cover of somebody's song, I kind of like steal from that too. Mm-hmm. Sarah Jarosz does a great cover of Dylan's "Ring Them Bells." Only she plays it on mandolin, I think, or tenor guitar. And so I just kind of stole that version and changed it a little bit. So it's fun to do that.
Yeah. When you do that, what do you find most often? Or what are you hoping to kind of show off, do you think?
I'm hoping to get people's attention, to have them listen, because then they're, and I usually introduce songs like that with, these are incredible songs that have been around for a while for a reason, because they don't lose their relevance, and so I'm trying to get them to pay attention to the lyric.
Yeah, and I know there are certain songs that are covered often, and then there are other songs that are covered well, and there's like a Venn diagram of those two things. Right. I find, and I really appreciate and enjoy when people put a spin on it to ask the listener to pay attention to something in a different way, mm-hmm. whether it's that guitar riff, that's how it goes, or that one, even that one lyric or something. I find it such an interesting idea, and in fact, I'm so excited that you love playing covers, and one of the original reasons behind doing all of this in the first place, when we first started it in 2014, I think it was. We started in 2014 on WEMF. That's where the WEMF covers comes from. When it was still a radio station, and I was just insanely curious as to why people do certain covers, or what they're hoping to get. I mean, sometimes it's, I don't have enough songs and I need to fill it in, or sometimes it's
a feeling. They want to share a feeling, this song makes me, like how many people cover Landslide? I love covering Landslide, and it's one of those songs that everyone knows, but, they sing along. They're like, oh, I like that song. And then they sing along with you, and they're, or Blackbird, or, these songs like that.
And it becomes much more of a communal experience in that time, which is such a great feeling. Almost like selfishly, it's a great feeling to kind of be part or be the organizer of that kind of communal experience. But also at the same time, it's acknowledging that this is something for everybody, not just for me.
Yes.
Which is really, really
perfect.
great.
Perfect.
And I when the show was actually on the radio, what I would do is I would have a guest come and we'll talk for a little bit and play 3 songs, but the rest of the show would be, U2 doing a Led Zeppelin song or something like that.
I love that.
That is also, when you have somebody who is famous doing somebody else's song, I think that's an acknowledgement and a nod to we're famous because of people who came before us. And I think that, kind of bringing it back to what we were talking about earlier, how we're musicians because people were musicians before us. And we're kind of hoping to have that continue, I think.
And for me, it's all about what you said, that the communal experience is about community. It's about doing things together and enjoying the experience of listening and singing together. It's not about like, oh, I want to be famous. It's about, the best feeling to me is I would much rather play a room of 5 people that are listening than a big crowd of people that are talking and, and there's a place for that, but I get more joy from a listening audience. Yeah. Because then I feel like there's a connection, like I'm connecting with them instead of me being in the background.
Yeah, and when you're with somebody singing 3 or 4-part harmonies, it's like that what you're doing is helping them, and what you're doing couldn't exist without them.
Right.
Which is such a great, again, just kind of continuing that communal feeling, and I think it's really important. Kim, this has been so wonderful. Thank you so much for coming here. As I said before, I was completely intimidated when you said you wanted to be here. You are unbelievably talented, such a great songwriter, a wonderful human being. Thank you for all that you are doing. Maybe I can sneak on to the Sandwich
Arts Alliance.
Arts Alliance this October. I'd be totally for that.
Excellent,
and you will be continuing. What is it? Live? It's
live
the
from the
Green Room. Is that
live from the Green Room?
Yeah.
Yep.
And you'll be doing that every week or every?
It's hit or miss. It just depends. It's so casual. Like I was doing it every 2 weeks, but then the month of April, I connected with a whole bunch of people, so we've done it once a week. And I might give it a rest in the summer because everyone likes to be outside. So, if you just follow the Green Room House Concerts on Facebook, you'll be able to see the posts.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cece's still here. Cece is the guest for next week. I'm very excited about that as well. Do you have one more song to kind of close us out here?
I'd love to. It's a John Hyatt song. It's a John Hyatt song called Before I Go. And thank you again so much, Dan. I had a blast.
Thank you, Kim.
Had a blast.
Thank you.
Sleeping for some hours, just woke up and you were there. Like the morning, like the flowers, sunlight whispering in my ears. Red tail hawks shooting down the canyons put me on their windy rocks. I will be your true companion when we reach the other side. And I will try, and I will stumble, and I will fly. He told me so, proud and high, or low and humble, many miles before I go. Many miles before I go. way to travel on the ground or in the sky. All my schemes have come unraveled. All that's left is you and I. And I will try, but I will stumble, and I will fly. You told me so, proud and high, or low and humble, many miles before I go, many miles before I go. Ghost on trees there, ghost on wires, asking questions and showing signs. Shivering with truth, they are lighting fires all down the line. And I will try, but I will stumble, and I will fly. You told me so, proud and high, or low and humble, many miles before I go. Proud and high, or low and humble, many miles before I go. Ah, great.
Yeah,
Thank
it was
you.
so amazing.
Thank you. It's a great.
So
song.
pretty. It is a great song. That was wonderful. Please, everybody, go check out Kim on all of the socials. Go back to the comments, check them all out. I guess the important one is this one, the KimMobergMusic.com.
Thank you.
Please also, if you get a chance, check out the Know Better, Do Better project. I feel like that's such an important and such a great idea. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for being a part of it. And that was just wonderful. That was great. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you were able to spend time. Thank you for spending your time with us today.
Thank you.
I say us, meaning myself and everybody in the comments.
And thank you all for listening.
This is so nice. And make sure everybody knows that you can like, subscribe, share with your friends. You can go back and watch it again. And I'm going to end the broadcast and have everybody go outside. It's so nice outside. At least it is in Boston.
Yay.
Thank you, everybody. See you all later.
Bye. Thanks very much.